Well, g'day. Hope you're well. Hope you're finding time to get out in the outdoors because, I mean, look at it. It is so good to be out here today. A beautiful winter's day. Apparently, weather's really mild. It's a little bit windy though, but we're 5Ks in on this trip. It's just a solo overnighter. We're gonna head down to this creek or this river system down here, explore some side creeks, and hopefully find a nice spot to camp and just relax and enjoy being out here. So should be a good trip. Well, that was actually quite pleasant for the most part. Yeah, a couple little overgrown bits. I mean, last time I came through this area, like, that track was quite difficult to follow, very overgrown. It must be getting quite a bit of traffic to open it up as much as what it did. So I think though, if you lose it, it's going to be really messy. So hopefully we find it on the way back and stick to it. But knowing it's so clear means it should be clear when you lose it. So yeah. But yeah, we're going to head up the river. I might have to cross over a few times and then yeah, duck off up a side creek and see how we go. Like, hopefully we find a nice spot. We've got a few hours of daylight left, so although this type of traveling along a river system can be quite slow going, so yeah, hopefully it goes well. It's going to be one of those trips. Second snake of the trip already. Another red belly black snake. Kind of right where I want to go. Come on. That's the way I want to go though, buddy. That's going to be mildly terrifying. Always makes you a little bit nervous. Snakes. No idea where he's gone. I'm going to try and go as close to the water as I can. Hope that he went the other way. Oh man. Every stick is going to look like a snake now. It's two in a really short period of time. I mean, it's the first warm days of anywhere, so yeah. I mean, how pretty is that though? Yeah. So I forgot how beautiful this is down here. Yeah, so pretty. I have been along this river system before, but not for a while, and you know, these things change a little bit. And I do remember though, the further we get upstream, the narrower it becomes. Fewer and far between the camp spots are, so time's a little bit precious, and it's really slow going, so it'll be interesting. It's pretty though. Well, I'm really on the fence. Yeah, I've passed a usable spot, usable campsite a couple minutes ago. I've been thinking about it ever since I passed it, because it's not the spot I was thinking about. I reckon the spot I had my eye on was about a K up the river from here. It's really slow going. I'm getting more fatigued as we go along, taking longer, and I'm not as confident in rock hopping and things like that. So even though it wasn't exactly what I had in mind, I actually think I'm going to go back, because it is, we didn't know, but it is like 3:15. It could take me another hour to do that K, and then it may or may not be the spot like I remembered it. So I'm a bit on the fence. I don't remember this spot I just passed at all, but it is a nice spot. And so I think I'm better off going back there, setting up. My setup's going to take a bit longer today as well, so because I didn't bring a tent, I brought a tarp, and I don't use it very often, so it's going to take me longer to work out how to pitch that in sand. So yeah, all right, we'll go back. It's not that far back that way. Decision made. Thanks for your help. Alrighty, so camp set up, with hopes and dreams and lots of string, a couple rocks and some bigger pegs. I normally take bigger pegs when I'm trying to set up stuff in sand. So I've got these really big long pegs. Maybe I'll show them later. They're actually really good for this type of stuff. Good for trekking pole tents in sand and that type of stuff. So I brought those for this trip, and yeah, it's I'm just gonna kick back and relax now. I'm gonna have a quick swim, because that always makes you feel good. Cool me down a bit. It's really hot today, and kick back and have a snack, maybe a whiskey, and just enjoy the evening. So it's nice setting up early and just being able to relax and stuff now, so no pressure to rush to get things done. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Beautiful spot though, beautiful spot. Alright, so I've got the bush telly on, got my stove cooking away there for tonight's dinner, which I think is chicken mash or something like that. Who knows what that's going to be. It's going to be a lucky dip. Yeah, it's been ages since I had a fire. It's nice. But yeah, I didn't bring a lighter this trip, and so hence the stove cooking at the same time. I used the flint and steel, I guess. The bushcraft stuff's not my thing. I really should actually spend some time doing that. But yeah, effectively I just I used my my little flint and steel to light my stove, and actually used my stove to light the fire. So that kind of worked out all right. But yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I should get into bushcraft and get my head around that kind of stuff. But I think I would have got there eventually. I just didn't want to spend all night trying to get a spark to take. What a beautiful night. We are so lucky to have these places on, right on our back doorstep, I guess, from Sydney. Like, we're only a couple hours from Sydney, and you get stuff like this, which is pretty special. It's pretty special. Oh, good morning. I mean, I nearly feel like I should say great morning, because wow, like, what a beautiful day. had like a really good start. I've had a great sleep. Enjoyed being out under the tarp again. You know, I've had a cold swim this morning and then dried off by the fire and warmed up again, and coffee, average breakfast, but even instant oats feel okay today. So it's a great day. Yeah, so just gonna kick back and relax this morning. You know, I was umming and ahhing about, you know, do I explore more up the creek here? Do I, you know, and tossing and turning, and I think I'm just gonna relax here. I'm gonna have a nice relaxing trip. Maybe we'll have a look at, you know, playing around with the tarp a little bit, because I really don't use it that often, and yeah, probably still some things to learn in that space, so maybe I have a play around with that while I'm in this beautiful spot. So nice here. You know, all the frogs kicking off and big cliffs. The sun's going to hit us here soon, so that'd be nice too. There's like a beautiful rock over there to lay on, and just, yeah, it's going to be a nice relaxing morning. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I got. I just feel good because I feel recharged, and yeah, which I often do after spending time in nature. So, you know, it's going to be a good day. Yeah, so for this trip, I really wanted to go lightweight. I've done a couple trips recently where my pack's been heavy for what I usually carry, and so, you know, I really wanted to rein it in a bit for this one. So, you know, the base weight's down to like about 4.5 kilos, and, you know, one of the ways to do that is by bringing a tarp rather than a tent. You know, beautiful weather forecast, so there's no reason why, you know, you can't take a tarp, although they're quite a versatile shelter, so you can rig them in lots of different ways. Some will be better for bad conditions than others. This, a great setup for mild conditions, although, you know, reality is, past me when I bought this tarp was like all about trying to keep it light and small, and so, you know, this tarp I think is 2.7, and reality is it would work better with this setup as a 3x3, but it still works. I then wanted to pair this with a bug net because, you know, I think I'm just past the point where I want to have animals crawling all over me, or spiders in my sleeping bag, or even a snake, and, you know, if it gets cool enough overnight. So I think nowadays I like to have a bug net protect me from mosquitoes in particular, especially if I'm camping near water and stuff like that. So so we've got a combination of things here that weren't necessarily designed to go together. The tarp is by Tier Gear, so, you know, Australian manufacturer, and they were great to deal with. They'd put tie outs wherever you wanted it to. You could add line lockers, things like that. They're pretty open to anything you want to do. And so then, you know, I've paired this with a bug net I found on AliExpress. I can't remember the name of it. It might be the Luxada bug net or something like that. It was less than $30, and I kind of went, you know what, I'll just try it. And is it claustrophobic? Yes. Is it ideal? Like, no. But yeah, am I still happy with it for what I paid for it? Absolutely. I've used this in, you know, in caves with tarps like this, and yeah, it does what I needed to do for the, you know, for the price I paid for it. So yeah, together though, it's a little bit complicated to pair these things together, but, you know, with this setup, you know, relying on, normally you would anchor the bug net to, you know, either end of your shelter or whatnot, but for here, you know, we've got stuff sitting on weird angles and things like that because we're trying to combine two systems that don't quite go together, but it works. So with this setup, one of the challenges is how you anchor this in a way that, you know, isn't too off axis and stuff like that. So I put my head at the open end the open end of this tarp shed up just underneath the cover there, so this wouldn't be great if you were expecting foul weather, but for this type of stuff it's good. It's going to protect you from any condensation and things like that, any light rain if you get it. And then yeah, the end of the bug net's looped over the top of the trekking pole, and normally to get into these things you kind of lower them down with a barrel lock there, get in, and then when you're half in, zip it up and pull this back up again, which is really tricky to do with one hand. Then at the ends of it, you know, I've just got them anchored out to pegs here, and I've got those out with a bit of guy rope because you can't peg through the middle of your tarp. So, you know, so a little bit of guy line there, a little bit of extra guy line for this setup. With tarps, I tend to always bring a little bit of extra guy line because it just always comes in handy. Yeah, so with this type of stuff, then, you know, we've got a nice little awning out here, so you put it up over trekking poles, over a stick to kind of open it out, and that kind of pulls the tarp up and then over an anchor point and back down to the ground. I've got really big sand pegs, well, really big for a lightweight peg, and I'll show you some of those when I pull them out, and they're really good for these type of setups, or like any type of tension tent in sand, so like a trekking pole tent, anything like that. These pegs are fantastic for, because they're quite long. They're about 25 centimeters long and still made out of lightweight fabrics. Yeah, the feet end, it's going to be similar things. It's going to be anchored into the other point, the other trekking pole. I also hang my water off the end there. I gravity filter my water, and so just hanging it off the trekking pole is like a nice way to actually do that. It's a nice solid anchor for it. It looks like a little bit like you're in hospital and it's a drip, but you know, hey, you know, whatever works to keep you hydrated. Then round the back, around the back here, I've just got like, you know, another guy line going out up over a stick and down to the ground, and that just kind of lifts the back of the tarp up. Ideally I'd probably put another one in the middle here, and that would just give you a little bit more space there, but you know, for what we needed for this setup, that was fine. The nice thing about these is that you still have like a nice open view. It's quite open, and it's nice to be able to feel like you're a bit more part of your surroundings. So yeah, it works pretty well. I quite like this. I mean, you can drop this middle section down a little bit to give you a bit more protection, but I mean, if you're after a lot of protection from the elements, this probably isn't the setup you'd be going for to start with. So yeah, so just keep it open, nice and wide, and enjoy the view and enjoy the surroundings. It's nice when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can still easily see out of the tent or out of the shelter. It's quite a nice way to experience camping, I think. So normally outside, either in the vestibule of my tent or in these type of things outside the bug net, you know, I usually use my gaiters or my sit pad or whatever as like a little bit of a doormat. Makes it easier to get in and out of the tent. Yeah, it's something you can comfortably kneel on, you know, or just to help keep sand off you when you're trying to get in and out of your system. So, so that type of stuff I find really helpful. Now with this, you know, if you weren't using this bug net and stuff like that in this tent, you'd probably sleep a little bit further back in this system. So you got a little bit more ground sheet. I'm like right on the edge of the tarp underneath me here, but you know, that's just because of the way the bug net needs to hang off the trekking poles. But there's quite a bit of space up in the back here. So normally I put my pack and things like that up the back there, so plenty of, it's undercover. Yeah, normally if anything's trying to get into it, it's got to come into my tarp to get into the pack, and I normally hear it, but normally my pack's pretty well sealed up and all my rubbish is, you know, well hidden away. So same with my food. So normally I don't have too many issues with animals trying to get into stuff. And when you come places like this where there isn't a lot of people coming to, you don't have that much trouble with wild animals. The only places you have issues with animals trying to get into your food is where they're really popular spots. You know, lots of people have been really careless with their food, their rubbish, stuff like that, and so the animals have got a taste for that food. Out here, these animals, they're looking for food elsewhere. They're not interested in my processed human food. Alrighty, so I think that's it for you know, the walkthrough of this kind of shelter. So, you know, if you've not tried tarp camping, like, I do recommend it. It definitely has its place, and it definitely helps you to lighten your load as well, so that's good. This setup, I think, is called a gunya shelter. I've definitely seen videos, like multiple videos out there about how to pitch this type of shelter, because it's not, you know, ridiculously straightforward. I know Scotty's Gone Walkabout does a good video on this, and it's the first time I actually saw this shelter was in one of his videos, so, you know, I quite like it, adapted it from there. But, you know, lots of YouTube rabbit holes you can go down as far as trying to learn how to set up these things, so I'm not going to get into it. But, you know, it's just a bit of a walkthrough of how you can adapt it to put a bug net in, something like that, if you want that type of protection and still using this type of setup. Alrighty, so as much as I don't want to, yeah, I think it's time to pack up, time to get going, leave this paradise behind. There were some really nice swimming holes I passed on the way into, so I may actually stop for a swim. Otherwise, it's pretty much just straight back out the way we came in, which I didn't film too much of, so maybe I might try and film a little bit more of that on the way out. That could be nice, but you know, it's going to be another warm day. I think the wind's picking up quite a bit, so yeah, it might be a little bit interesting going through all the trees and stuff, and hopefully nothing's blowing over, but it is pretty windy up there. We're quite sheltered from it down here, so yeah, so we'll see how we go. It should only take us, you know, maybe 4 hours or so to get out of here, so not too bad. Oh man, just about jumped on first snake of the day. Whew. Heart is pounding now. I think both of us panicked. I jumped in the water. Whew. He took off under a rock. Yeah, I can turn the camera around in a second actually. He's curled up there and I can still see him. We'll see if we can actually zoom in enough from here and see if we can point him out. Oh man, oh, it's the closest I've come to treading on a snake for a while. Whoa. So, sadly, about to say goodbye to the river. It's actually been really nice down here. I'm going to try and head back up that track we came in on. So, it got more overgrown closer towards the actual river. So I think the key is going to be actually just making sure we get on the right trail off here, because I think if we miss the top half of this trail, it's going to be really hard going. So, yep. So hopefully, hopefully we find our way, and hopefully it's the easy way. Oh, alrighty. So, yeah, most of the hard work's pretty much done. Strangely enough, I found following the trail on the way out a lot harder than on the way in. So, you know, I guess navigation can be a little bit easier on the way down, you can path opening up ahead of you, but it took a lot more concentration than I thought it was going to do. But yeah, it's nice to be in a little bit of shade now because it's a pretty hot walk out, very steep, pretty slow going, so it's nice to be here. I mean, it's pretty awesome out there. So we don't have too much of this to go. I reckon I've got about another K or so of this, and then we're going to hit some fire trail. No one wants to see that, so we might leave it here for this one. You know, it's been an amazing trip. You know, we saw an echidna, 3 snakes. You know, it's enough to make the heart jump. we got to take an ultralight pack out and sleep under a tarp next to a creek. So, I mean, the swimming holes, it had everything. So, even a fire and some whiskey. It had it all. So, thanks for tagging along, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.